Boutique price $23,000, but Guangzhou price $600.
Do you recognize this style, this bag? Of course you do. For the past more than 30 years, we have been the OEM factory for most of the luxury brands around the world. Gucci, Prada, Coach, Louis Vuitton.
And we end today's show about luxury bags carefully handcrafted in China. Turns out your quote-unquote made in Italy luxury handbag might have more ties to Chinese factories than to Tuscany. Thanks to viral TikToks from Chinese factory workers, the internet is now in a frenzy.
We've all seen it. The Birkin bag sitting proudly on the arms of celebrities, billionaires, and fashion lovers who can afford its wild price tag. For years, it's been treated like a luxury trophy, more about showing off wealth than actually carrying stuff around. People dream of owning one, thinking they're buying a piece of French artistry, hand-stitched with care and elegance in some quiet little corner of Paris. And at around $40,000, it should be something special. But what if everything we believed about this iconic bag was a little off? Or maybe completely wrong? Recently, the internet was shaken when a viral video came out and exposed a jaw-dropping secret about the Birkin. It turns out the famous Made in France image that's been carefully sold to the public might not be true at all. According to the person in the video, who claims to have worked closely with Hermès, the bags aren't being made in France. Instead, they're being put together in factories in China. Yep, China, not Paris. This news hit like a bombshell. People were shocked and confused. How could a bag that's supposed to represent the best of French craftsmanship be manufactured somewhere else, especially when the prices are so unbelievably high? And if that's the case, why didn't Hermès ever say anything? The man behind the video didn't just make wild claims, he broke everything down in detail. He explained that although Hermès talks a lot about using top-of-the-line materials, many of those items, like leather, thread, and hardware, are actually shipped to China, where the bags are quietly assembled before being sent back to Europe for final touches and a label. Take the leather, for example. Hermès has always said they only use the best leather from Italy, Germany, and France. That part might be true. The leather comes from respected suppliers like MTI, Italy, and Weinheimer, Germany, and it's not cheap, around $450 per piece. But here's the twist. Just because the leather is top quality doesn't mean it's being handled by elite French artisans. According to the whistleblower, it's being cut, stitched, and sewn together in Chinese factories. Even the thread is a big part of the story. Hermès uses a thread called fil au chinois, which is strong and luxurious, costing about $25 per bag. The metal hardware? It's made of ocean-grade stainless steel that resists rust and corrosion, so the materials are still top tier. But the real issue isn't the quality of the materials, it's the deception. People are paying tens of thousands of dollars believing they're getting something crafted in a charming French workshop, but they might actually be buying something that was mass-produced overseas for a fraction of the cost. And now, luxury, buyers are asking, are we paying for quality or are we just paying for the name?
Bag at Hermès boutique will cost you 38,000 USD. But what is the real cost out of the factory? Today, I'm going to break it down in front of you, step by step. First thing first, Hermès only use the leathers from the 3 top-level suppliers. One is called Nuti from Italy. The second is Weinheimer from Germany, and the third is Baz from France. One piece of Togo leather, the same leather as this one, will cost 450 USD. And one piece of the leather is only enough to make one Birkin, okay? And next, the thread. And of course, for Hermès Birkin, the thread is also the best top level. It's called fil au chinois from France. This is actually the Rolls Royce in thread. For each bag, the cost is 25 USD. And then the hardware. See, this hardware is called 316 hardware. It's also known as the ocean stainless steel because it can withstand the erosion of seawater. It's the best stainless steel. For one piece of bag, the hardware will cost 150 USD. The edge oil. This edge oil is imported from Italy. It's called heat seal edge oil. For each bag, it will cost 50 USD. The interior lining, it used lambskin imported from France. For each bag, the cost will be 100 USD. And also inside, there is a zipper from Riri brand. And the zipper for one bag is 10 USD. And then the cost of human resource. The French artisans is much more expensive than Chinese artisans. To finish one bag, the human resource cost will be 600 USD. The package, now this is not that expensive, it's 10 USD. So now to sum those up, the total cost will be 1,400 USD for one Birkin out of factory. But why Hermès will charge you 38,000 USD for one bag? That's because more than 90% of the price is paid for its logo. But if you do not care about the logo, you just want the same quality, same material, you can just buy from us. Because for our bags, we use exactly the same material, same leather, same hardware, same edge oil. The only difference is one, we don't have the logo, so we don't have to pay so much amount of money just for that logo. And second, our human resource is much cheaper. This is why this bag from our factory only costs you 1,000 USD, but even better quality and craftsmanship.
Okay, here's the real shocker. Turns out most of these super expensive Birkin bags aren't even being put together in France like we've all been led to believe. According to a Chinese factory worker who spilled the tea online, the bags are mostly assembled in China, not in the high-end French workshops we imagine when we hear Hermès. So while the company promotes the Birkin as a luxury item made with love and skill in Paris, a lot of the hands-on work is actually happening thousands of miles away, in Chinese factories, for way less money. Now social media is on fire with this news. People are upset, confused, and feeling totally misled. It's hard to understand how a bag that costs nearly $40,000 could be made somewhere so cheaply. Everyone's starting to ask, are we really paying for luxury, or are we just buying into a story that isn't even true? Some folks are downright furious. They're calling Hermès dishonest, accusing the brand of lying about where the bags come from. Others are brushing it off, saying it's all made up and the video can't be trusted. Then there's a group of people who think it doesn't really matter where the bag is made. To them, it's more about the name than the craftsmanship. If it looks good and says Hermès, that's what they care about. Even fashion experts and insiders started weighing in. Some defended Hermès, saying the quality is still there, no matter where the bags are assembled. But others said this whole situation proves that luxury fashion needs a wake-up call. Brands like Hermès and Louis Vuitton sell us this dream of handmade perfection, but a lot of their stuff is quietly being produced in places with lower costs and cheaper labor. And it's not just Hermès under fire. Gucci, Prada, and Louis Vuitton are all facing similar rumors. One insider even claimed that over 80% of luxury products actually come from China. Yet, none of these brands seem to be rushing to clear things up. They continue to sell that made in Europe image while hiding the real truth. Kind of shady, right? At the end of the day, people just want honesty. If they're going to spend thousands of dollars, they deserve to know exactly what they're paying for and where it's really coming from.
Three brands around the world: Gucci, Prada, Coach, Louis Vuitton, you name it. But for this, I am not proud because we were only making our wages.
Louis Vuitton and Chanel will hate me if I tell you this, revealing the secret behind big brand. Let's go! Hang Long from Singapore, or Bodin Jurars for their lambskin from France. Tannery Haas, Italian Tannery, Fight. Labri Tecna from Italy. Guess where I found all those secret suppliers? All in APIF.
Honestly, this changes the whole way we think about luxury fashion. For years, seeing made in France or made in Italy on a product made it feel special, like it was handcrafted by experts. But now, it's starting to seem like that label might just be part of the marketing. Don't get me wrong, these bags still look good and seem to be made with care. But it's crazy to realize that the image luxury brands have sold us, all about tradition and elite craftsmanship, might not be completely true. If these high-priced items are really being put together in far-off factories instead of fancy French studios, then what are we actually paying for? People are starting to ask questions. They want real answers, and in some cases, they even want their money back. If you're spending thousands, you should know whether you're buying quality work or just a brand name and a dream.
so confused because Hermès clearly purports that all of their bags are handmade in France and their watches are made in Switzerland. In their verbiage, there is no room for confusion about where their products are manufactured. There's no room for China. But in the beginning of that video, that nice Chinese man is clearly standing in front of what appear to be Hermès bags, saying that these are the bags that we manufacture. I noticed he didn't say Hermès when he called out all the brands like Prada, Louis Vuitton, Coach. But the implication was very clearly there. And if Hermès products, specifically their bags, are made from beginning to end in France, why would their valuation drop with the news that Chinese manufacturers are spilling the tea? It says right here on their website, the vast majority of our products are manufactured in France. They talk about sourcing cashmere from Mongolia, blah, blah, blah. But absolutely nothing about China. And those purses that man was standing in front of were identical to Hermès bags, correct? So does that mean Hermès is lying to?
Luxury brands like Hermès are finally being called out. And this isn't just some small rumor or a one-time slip-up. It feels like a major shift in how people are viewing the whole luxury industry. In 2025, the word luxury doesn't mean what it used to. People aren't just accepting sky-high prices anymore. They're asking for honesty. They want to know where their products come from and how they're made. When they don't get answers, trust me, they speak up. Comment sections blow up. Hashtags go viral, and yet Hermès has stayed quiet. No apology, no official statement, nothing. Meanwhile, some companies are trying to shut down the rumors. Lululemon, for example, has denied working with the factories shown in those viral videos, warning customers about fake products and misinformation. Louis Vuitton, on the other hand, is being upfront online about where their items are made. Some of the TikToks causing all this buzz have even been proven false or misleading. Experts have pointed out that people are confusing fake factories with real certified ones. And while some factories in China do produce quality goods, the fact that Hermès hasn't explained anything just adds fuel to the fire. Now customers are wondering, if their Birkin bags really came from overseas factories, why weren't they told? This whole thing could seriously hurt Hermès. Delays, canceled orders, even lawsuits might be coming. People who've waited years or paid thousands might walk away. And on top of that, the resale market is shaking. If you can't even prove where the bag came from, what are you really buying? Right now, customers want the truth. And if Hermès doesn't speak up soon, they might lose the very trust that made them powerful in the first place.
US tariffs against China add up to 145%. That is on top of, that is including the existing 20% tariffs that were already imposed on the country.